I am the project lead for the AIS Female Performance and Health Initiative, and one of the key bits of information that we started this project for was surrounding the menstrual cycle. There are an innumerable amount of apps out there at the present time that are allowing athletes and indeed everyday people to collect data on what happens in their menstrual cycle. Breast tenderness, how much blood loss they're having during their period, how many days their period goes for, if they're getting cramping, mood changes. This type of data is able to be put into an app, and then that information can readily be downloaded onto an athlete management system for anyone to see. Does a coach or does a strength and conditioning or a physiologist, do they need to know that an athlete has got breast tenderness? I would absolutely say no. Perhaps there is some relevant information within that might impact their training, but I think it's very important that we understand that this is very personal information that someone is divulging. I think it's important for this kind of information to be collected from a doctor-patient relationship, but whether or not that needs to be shared with as many people as it is, I'm absolutely not convinced. Information collection for me as an athlete, back in my career many years ago, started writing data into a paper logbook, and we would write things like how many hours sleep we've had, what I did at school that day, if I did extra sport, how many kilometres we would do in the pool, and it was held in a paper book. As I went through the ranks, there was certainly more input onto a computer and putting things in Excel spreadsheets, but now on the other side, looking at data collection, it's really quite incredible into what we do. I think if we talk about the female athlete, information that we could potentially be sharing with either our employer if we're in a professional sport or with people like our coaches that is incredibly sensitive. It could be things like fertility, it could be things like my plans for wanting to have a child in the future. Is that going to impact upon my ability to be selected on a specific team if I divulge that kind of information and it's being shared? Information such as pelvic floor and urinary incontinence. Do we need to be sharing that kind of information with a number of different role holders? Again, I would absolutely argue that you don't, and I'm not sure that a lot of our athletes are really understanding that that information could potentially be shared. There's a grey area between what is performance and what is health. Have we found out, what that line is? I don't think we necessarily have at the moment, but I think there's the potential for that to be tested. A combined approach from high performance sport and professional sport in terms of all of this data collection would be really beneficial for an athlete themselves and also, for a sport as a whole. I think there is absolutely a bit of a trickle-down effect from sport to the general public. If we can improve awareness and information in sport, we really do see that trickles down, to improve the health and performance of younger people so that we don't have to pick up the pieces down the track. And I think that could be a really powerful thing that we do with this information.